Welcome, I'm Ijoma Onyaso. Tonight, West African leaders resolve to solve the political impasse in the Gambia in a peaceful manner. Northeast states on high alert following warning of likely attacks from fleeing Boko Haram terrorists. The police parade 7 persons suspected to have masterminded the kidnap of a former Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Magudu Hirse. And Russia says U.S. allegations it ran a hacking campaign to influence the American presidential elections are evocative of a witch hunt.
And on business news tonight, Nigeria's Securities and Exchange Commission plans to increase oversight functions to protect the country's capital market.
On sports news tonight, football's governing body FIFA is set to vote on Gianni Infantino's plans to expand the World Cup to 48 teams.
From Abuja, the nation's capital, I'm Ibrahim Adra. Bring back our girls campaigners demand improved welfare for IDPs in the country as the group continues its week-long protest to commemorate 1,000 days of the Chibok girls.
West African leaders mediating in the political crisis in the Gambia have ended their meeting in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, with a resolve to find a peaceful solution to the issue. The leaders also agreed to return to the Gambia on Wednesday to persuade President Yahya Jammeh to step down. The meeting, which was hosted by President Muhammadu Buhari as the chairman of the mediation team, was attended by the President of Liberia, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Ghana's former President John Mahama, and President of Senegal, Macky Sall. Briefing journalists after the talks, Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Godfrey Onyama, said the issue is being addressed in line with the Constitution of the Gambia.
They came one after the other, their motorcade cascading into the presidential villa. Host President Muhammadu Buhari takes time to receive them as they come. Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf doubles as the chairman of the ECOWAS sub-region. While the immediate past president of Ghana, Mr. John Mahama, has also become an example for African leaders for smoothly handing over after losing an election. Also joining them is the president of Senegal, Macky Sall. They have a responsibility to get Yahya Jammeh to relinquish power, having lost presidential election held on December 1 in Gambia. Despite losing election to Adama Barrow and in the face of pressure from West African leaders, some of which are coming from the presidential villa here, Jammeh insists nobody can deprive him of presidency. But the outcome of this meeting will determine the next line of action against his decision. Minister of Foreign Affairs of Nigeria briefed the press after the meeting.
They agreed on their determination to resolve the Gambian political crisis in a manner that at every step of the way conforms with the Constitution of the Gambia and respects the will of the people of Gambia. They expressed particular concern at the deteriorating situation that has been reported in respect of security in the Gambia. In particular, the closure of some of the radio stations and media houses, arrests that have been taking place, and also the refugee situation that is being created with a mass exodus of a large number of people to the interior and to neighboring countries. In view of this, the meeting agreed that a certain number of the presidents will visit again in 2 days' time President Jammeh in the Gambia.
The clock is ticking, and it does appear that the next meeting in the Gambia will go a long way to determine what happens next. Chukuma Onwekusi, Channels Television News.
The northeast is on high alert following warnings by the military and traditional rulers notifying residents of likely attacks by remnants of the Boko Haram terrorist group. Reports say people are now more cautious as they carry on their daily activities, watching out for terrorist elements around them. Just yesterday, a twin bomb attack occurred at Muna Garage in Maiduguri, Borno State, killing 4 people. Our correspondent Blessing Tuna reports that the police have warned of the latest ploy used by terrorists to attack their targets.
Recent happenings within Maiduguri have given rise to the army advising residents to be mindful of strange persons lurking in their environment and knocking on their doors. The advice becomes necessary following last night's attack, in which the suicide bombers began a new trend of knocking on the doors of their selected victims and blowing themselves up after hugging them. Their fourth victim in this new phase of attack is an 11-year-old girl who innocently opened up the door after a knock and met her death. The army believes that if the public reports the presence and movement of suspicious persons in their environment, the activities of the suicide bombers will be frustrated. They have also warned that henceforth the 10 p.m. curfew regime will be strictly enforced, hopefully to minimize the number of casualties in the event of an attack. Blessing Tunu, Channels Television News.
In the meantime, the killings in southern Kaduna have continued to attract condemnations from Christians and non-Christians. In Yobe and Rivers States, members of the Christian Association of Nigeria are asking the president to intervene by sending massive troops to the area to stop the killings. The call by CAN is coming in the wake of Sunday's attack, which left many of their members dead.
When Christians gather, it's in most cases for prayer. But these ones from Yobe and River State have not only prayed, they're on a protest march on the streets over the killings of some of their members. In River State, church leaders from different denominations and their followers conduct a peaceful march to the government house to hand over a letter to the governor for onward delivery to the president. They say enough of the killings in southern Kaduna.
We are mandated by the president of CAN that today we all should put on black to mourn the Christians. That is why we are here. Also to present a press statement, open letter to the Mr. President to look into this matter so that peace will reign in Nigeria.
I want to assure you that the message you have delivered to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria will get to the President through my governor. He will surely deliver the message to Mr. President.
These Christians are gathered here in the church in Yobe State. First, they render songs of praise and then also condemn the killing of their members, which they say is unwarranted.
No individual or group of persons disguising as Fulani herdsmen are permitted to take the law into their hands. We hereby call on both the federal and state governments to do thorough investigation and ensure that those behind the killings are brought to book.
This is not the first time such clashes will be recorded. In the 80s and early 90s, worse religious clashes spread through Jos, Bauchi, and adjoining states. And the fear of many is that if these particular killings are not brought under control, it may just spread to other states like it did in the past.
Staying with security matters, 7 persons suspected to have masterminded the kidnap of the former Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Bagudu Hirse, in Kaduna, have been paraded by the police in Abuja. The force public relations officer, Don Awana, told journalists that the suspects specialize in killing influential Nigerians within Kaduna and neighboring states.
These suspects, upon interrogation, volunteer confessional statements admitting that they are the criminal gang that kidnapped the former Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Bagudu Hisse on 20th November 2016 in GRA Kaduna and collected ransom before he was released. The same gang confessed to the kidnap of Dr. Abdul Malik Durungowa and his wife in their residence at different intervals in Kaduna. Ransom was also collected by the gang from the family of the victims before they were released. A member of the Kaduna State of Assembly, Honorable Ibrahim Ismaila, was also kidnapped by the gang on 26 August 2016 at the Bakwa area of Kaduna State. An undisclosed ransom was also collected by the gang before his release.
The federal government has promised to install low-level wind shear alert systems in all airports across the country as part of efforts to ensure safety of air travellers. Speaking at the commissioning ceremony of the facility at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua International Airport in Katsina, the Minister of State for Aviation says the government is also addressing the issue of instrument landing systems and other navigational aids at the various airports.
The low-level wind shear alert system has been installed at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua International Airport in Katsina. At the commissioning of the facility, the Minister of State for Aviation assures that government will promote safety through the provision of navigational aids in the nation's airports.
Aviation safety and security are top priority issues for the present federal government under the leadership of His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari. The successful installation of LLWAs at 13 airports in the country by NIMED is therefore in consonance with the aviation safety policy of this administration. The agency has procured and installed other weather monitoring equipment, including meteorological satellite images receivers.
The Director General of the Nigeria Meteorological Agency explains the reason for the installation of the low-level wind shear alert system at the airport.
The wind shear alert system we have installed at this airport has the capacity to detect calm wind, steady winds, wind shifts in relation to the runway, wind gusts, sustained divergent winds, which indicate wind shear, or strong and sustained divergent winds, which indicate microbursts around the airport.
Wind shear, according to the Nigeria Meteorological Agency, was first identified in Nigeria in June 1956 when an aircraft taking off from Kano encountered it and crashed with 32 fatalities. A recent study jointly carried out by the Accident Investigation Bureau and NIMED has also shown that this phenomenon is prevalent in every part of Nigeria.
To infrastructure development elsewhere, the Minister of Works, Power and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, has been giving an account on the works embarked upon by his ministry. On the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, the minister asked road users to be patient as the repairs on the road would be done in earnest. He was speaking on our breakfast program, Sunrise Daily.
I think the first thing is to say that I'm happy that the contractors have come back from their holiday very quickly and back to work. What we tried to do end of year was to ensure that even if they were going on break, they did not fully demobilize so that we could do repairs here and there. But the important thing is that we intend to do it with the minimum inconvenience and disruption, and we hope that people will understand that it is ultimately for their own good. It's another of the bridges that needs repairs. Bridges haven't been maintained for 4 decades. This is what we are getting back into. It will cause some inconvenience, but it will be for the long-term benefit, because the cost of building that bridge alone now is much more than what it will take to put it back into functional efficiency.
Minister of Works, Power and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola. In part 2, after the break, Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose and the APC trade words over the spending of the state share from the Paris debt payment. That's in a moment. You join us again.